Tonight, America's Most Wanted is where America fights back. Now, from Mexico, John Walsh.
Good evening and welcome to beautiful Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. You know, a lot of bad guys believe that after they commit a crime, all they have to do is cross the border and they're safe. Well, law enforcement officers in the U.S. and Mexico are working together to make that idea a thing of the past. And tonight, America's Most Wanted is broadcasting from Mexico to join that effort. We start with a case of a guy who seemed to know no boundaries. He ran drugs through a tunnel he built beneath the border. And as our John Turchin reports, when he was finally caught and thrown in jail, he continued to cross the line again and again.
He claims to be an innocent farmer, but don't let his looks fool you. He has left a trail of murder and destruction across Mexico. He has smuggled tons of cocaine into the United States. He is Joaquin Guzman. He goes by the nickname El Chapo. And once again, he's on the loose. 3 months ago, he broke out of this maximum security prison in Mexico. A nationwide manhunt begins. And prison workers are interrogated. How did they let El Chapo get away?
If it's properly run, there's no way anybody can get out of this place.
Victor Fuentes covered the story for Reforma, a major Mexico City newspaper. His investigation uncovered a stunning tale of corruption and bribery at the prison. Corruption and bribery engineered by Chapo Guzman.
First, they put everybody on a parallel payroll. Everybody, from the people, from the sub-directors, the deputy directors of the prison, all the way down to the custodians, everybody was on payroll. The three deputy directors, each of them got $30,000 a month.
To understand how that happened, you have to step into the underworld of Chapo Guzman.
He had the money to run his operation as he chose. He had accountants, he had pilots, he had aircrafts, he had connections.
Guzman began his career in narcotics as an air traffic controller for drug flights over Mexico. By killing anyone who stood in his way, he rose quickly in the ranks. After a bloody turf war, Guzman emerged as the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most violent of the Mexican drug gangs.
He was able to go to the biggest cocaine traffickers out of Colombia, purchase ton quantities of cocaine, and arrange for the cocaine to be transferred through Central America and directly into Mexico.
And each time the Mexican government cracked down on his operation, Guzman found new, ingenious ways of smuggling the cocaine. Packed into jalapeno pepper cans, in hidden compartments on oil tankers, even underground.
Apparently this is entrance down to a subterranean room.
In 1993, U.S. drug enforcement agents uncover an underground tunnel stretching from a warehouse in Mexico to a field just inside the U.S. in California. It begins with a vertical shaft that descends 65 feet into the ground. The tunnel itself measures 1,450 feet, more than a quarter of a mile long.
This is chiseled granite. This must have taken a long time. Right. This is literally a tunnel. Yes.
It is Guzman's secret passageway, complete with air vents, electricity, and rolling carts to move the cocaine part of his operation, which has dumped literally tons of cocaine on American streets.
This is apparently one of the living quarters.
In an abandoned warehouse are the beds, toilets, and makeshift tables used by the laborers who carved the tunnel. Workers who never imagined the price of doing business with Joaquin Guzman.
In order to conceal the identity or the location of the tunnel, the people that were used to build the tunnel were actually killed. He's a killer.
This is where the tunnel came up in America. This concrete slab now covers the top of it. It was supposed to reach that warehouse over there, but as you can see, it came up a little bit short. But it did the trick nonetheless. That long wall over there, that's the border. Guzman's tunnel allowed him to move his drugs across the border, literally right underneath this field, and avoid U.S. customs agents, which had already seized roughly 1/3 of his drug shipments. But his clever ambition came back to haunt him. Guzman's tunnel had cut across the territory of some of the world's most powerful drug lords, the Tijuana cartel. It was a warm summer day in Guadalajara when the hitman arrived. As Guzman drives into the airport, they move in for the kill. In a tragic case of mistaken identity, the hitmen kill the Roman Catholic Cardinal of Guadalajara.
They didn't know exactly where Chapo was, and they assumed that this car that they were going to hit was the car in which Chapo Guzman was traveling in.
As the country mourns, Guzman slips away.
$5 millones.
A $5 million reward is offered for his arrest. And just 3 weeks later, Guzman is caught in neighboring Guatemala. On his way to prison, he tells reporters that his business is agriculture. These surveillance images reveal a portrait of the prison after Guzman arrived. Fights between inmates, sexual interludes in the kitchen, a high-security prison in chaos.
And the authorities, they were worried that he was planning escape and that he was already way too close personally with many of the people working there and had become dangerous for the stability of the jails.
So in 1995, Guzman is transferred to one of the toughest penitentiaries in Mexico, Puente Grande. But recent confessions by guards reveal that inside these walls, Guzman and his henchmen had once again taken over.
The way they worked is amazing. They actually turned the jail into a privately run company for all practical purposes, and they were the CEOs of the company.
With millions of dollars in bribes, Guzman could get virtually anything he wanted in the prison.
He had liquor brought in, VCRs, cell phones, prostitutes, even Viagra. We know that he also raped women who worked in the prison. He had a group who would terrorize anyone who resisted. They were known as the batters because they would beat people with bats.
But when Guzman decided it was time to go, he relied on Francisco Cambreros, a janitor also known as Chito, to break him out of prison.
They prepared a laundry cart with a mattress in the bottom. Guzman gets into the cart, and Chito rolls the cart out of the jail and drives away.
Now that Guzman is on the run, he is being hunted by police as well as rival drug gangs. Authorities say he is a desperate and dangerous man.
I believe that within a short period of time, if he is not captured, the level of violence is going to be elevated significantly in Tijuana as well as in the United States.
Guzman is also a master of deception and will be difficult to catch. But here's what we know. He could be hiding among the masses in Mexico City, but it's more likely he's taken refuge in the rugged mountains of western Mexico. He has an extensive international network and may be lurking right here in the United States.
We know that he had connections to traffickers in New York, in Chicago, but his home, as far as his home base is concerned, was Los Angeles.
Guzman is short and stocky. He's a conservative dresser and sometimes wears a mustache. He may be accompanied by Francisco Cambreros, who helped him escape from prison. If you have any information that could lead to the arrest of either of these men, please call us tonight at 1-800-CRIME-TV.